Hi everyone, I'm excited to record this episode with the organizer of the best events focused on zero knowledge technologies. Agnieszka is the event manager and producer at ZK Summit, at ZK Hackathon, and the owner of Neve International, her own event company. Agnieszka, I'm happy to have you, and please share about your background.
Thank you, Daria, and thank you very much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure because I'm a follower of your channel, so I'm very happy to be here as a guest as well. Yes, as you mentioned, I didn't come from a Web3 background. Actually, I'm a psychologist, so I finished psychology as first and never worked in the field that I mastered in. After that, I worked a little bit for the corporations. I worked for the European Commission, and after 10 years of traveling around the world, I decided to go back to Poland. And I opened my own company, which is an event company, as you mentioned, the Neve International. And I started with the Retro Festival. I was very, very interested in bringing the history in this sense to people so they actually can experience it for themselves. So through music, through experience, like a practical one. I wanted to teach people history. When COVID started, basically, I started to look for some more alternatives because I was like, okay, history is one part. I'm a huge geek if it comes to that. But I was also interested in the technology. So the new technology that is coming out, obviously finances as well, coming from the background of the European Commission, where I was working for the financial department. So I was very interested into something that is more alternative. I heard obviously about the Bitcoin. I heard about all those cryptocurrencies. But what really interested me is the math and the cryptography behind any other tools. So I figured out that there's so much more to crypto and Web3 that I decided to dig a little bit deeper. And then I stumbled upon one of the job posts that were saying like, we're looking for event manager. That was actually ZKV who was looking for that position. And after that, Anna grabbed me from ZKV and we started working on the ZK podcast. And what really interests me is the zero knowledge proofs, which are related to privacy. So it was something that really, really interests me. And that caught my attention enough just to stay in a space for the last 3 years.
It's amazing. Can you tell more about these historical events? Because I saw that they were so beautiful and so authentic. Can you share a bit more? Why did you decide to organize them and what did you gain from?
Mm-hmm. Well, I lived in Belgium. Obviously, if I worked for the European Commission, I had to live in Brussels for some time. So I lived there almost 7 years. And this is the place where I got introduced to this retro style, retro events. So the moment when I came back to Poland, I just missed it. There was no person that was organizing something like that. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm just going to put my organization skills in practice and try. And actually, it was so successful that even, like the region of Małopolska, so the place where I'm living, and the city of Krakow got interested into it. So the first edition actually was sponsored by the city and by the region. So it was really, really great edition of this festival. The second edition, on top of that, I was doing a little bit more of the workshops here and there in Poland. I was working with the Museum of Lublin as well, so another city in Poland. I was doing many different workshops in Gdańsk. So basically, I saw that there is an interest in this because, like I said, it's a history that you're touching with your own hands. You really can understand, the culture, the events that were happening in the past through your own experience. So obviously, my aim was women. It was like, I'm not gonna lie, it was like 90% of people that were coming to those workshops were women. So for instance, making your own perfume or learning how to do your hair like your grandma did. This is, like I said, something that is very touching for people as well, because they're starting to relate with the ancestors in a different way. So the moment that the Retro Festival happened in Krakow, with the support of the city and the region, we had like audience that was like from 3 years old to almost 100 years old. Yeah. So it was really interesting to see this connection between the generations as well.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. Thanks for sharing. So obviously zero knowledge events are quite different compared to these historical events. So can you please share like any specific moment that make events for zero knowledge community unique, authentic, and attractive to developers and to like wider community?
Zero knowledge at the moment is booming. Also, you can really see that. You can really see that with the amount of research that is happening, with the amount of events that are happening around it, with the amount of projects they're popping from all over the place, basically. When I joined those 3 years ago, it wasn't like that. But I'm very, very happy to work with Anna Rose, which is in the space since 2017. So basically, she was one of the pioneers that were touching this space from a different perspective than just cryptography, talking about having her own podcast that is a zero knowledge podcast. It was very easy for me to get introduced into this kind of niche, into this kind of environment because of her. So it was hard for me to say at the beginning what those events need. At this moment of time, after doing several ZK summits and different events that are around this, I can see that what is very important to the attendees is definitely the authenticity. So you can really see the moment that authenticity is vanishing, the attendance is dropping, because this is such a specific part of cryptography that people don't want to be fed. I don't want to sound rude over here, but all those crypto bros things, right? All those promises, all those airdrops and stuff like that. No, this is an actual interest of people in the field that they study, that they develop. So this is something I really love about this space, is that people are genuinely interested in it and they generally want to push certain things forward. And education is absolutely important in here. That's why, the ZK Hack or Summit, this is something that I'm involved for such a long time now, because 3 years in a space and it's really,
It's quite
I don't know, 10 years. Yeah, 10 years in the normal industry. And I still feel hungry for it. I still feel like we can do more, that we can develop more, that we can, bring more value to the world and to the Web2 space as well. I'm looking forward to this moment that we can actually merge those two with each other in a way that Web2 is gonna use it for most of our lives, right? Zero knowledge proof is something that's gonna revolutionize the world and is doing it already. So I think this is something that is differentiating a zero knowledge audience from a different one.
I remember my first ZK summit in Berlin where we met. Actually, it was my first like cryptography cryptography focused event, because previously I attended many crypto events. I remember this feeling when you see these different people with pink hair, with cool clothes, cool styles, and they are super smart, they're super intelligent. And I was like, oh my God, I like these people. I want to be part of this community because it gives some value, extra value. And you see that it's not about money, it's more about curiosity, interest in the technologies. And it was super, super cool to start actually this blockchain journey with the ZK Summit. It was super cool.
I'm very happy to hear that. And this is exactly what we want. This is exactly what Anna wanted from the beginning, and this is what we want to continue, for people to really feel like they get a value out of those events that we are organizing.
I'm sure that you have some challenges with organizing events like ZK Hack or any other events you organize. So what kind of these challenges, and how do you overcome them?
Well, the biggest challenges that we are experiencing, obviously, is cultural differences. Cultural differences in the way of organizing certain things, right? Because the ZK Hack is never happening in the same spot twice. It's a very brand new concept, but on the other hand, we decided that we want to just travel the world with it. Actually, it was already announced that the next ZK Hack is going to be in Seoul in April. So as you can see, this is a completely different to what it was before, because we had Montreal, we had Krakow, we had Istanbul, we had Lisbon as well. So we are traveling the world. So the first challenge always is the differences in the way a certain person from a different country is organizing, right? and all the challenges related to like regulations and legal aspects. So this is something that it's, I would say, quite easily to overcome, right? I'm a person that is experienced in organizing events, so I don't see it as a big challenge. I always try to like look for a common ground with the person that I'm working with. It's not like we had a massive disaster anywhere, because we haven't, except for Montreal, but that was more a weather disaster than anything else.
Yeah, tell
I
about
think
this.
oh my God, I was recovering for a month from that event. So basically what happened is the hurricane hit. Hurricane had hit the first day that we started the hackathon. And obviously for the hackathon, you need electricity, you need, you need safety for people as well.
Yeah.
You need a place for them to work overnight. And all of that was taken away from us at the moment when we started dinner. That was literally like 15 minutes after we served the food, the lights went off. And this is something that I love about Zero ZK community as well. Nobody panicked. They were all like, "Oh, this is cool. Is this a part of the experience?" No, if you looked outside, we couldn't see what was happening outside, because there was a beautiful, very old theater. So everything was like enclosed. You didn't have any windows. So after that, when we looked outside, we saw that there is like a storm happening, basically, right? A hurricane that is going through the city.
Yeah.
And basically the whole district got blackout, and we didn't get the electricity back till the next day, like midday. So we decided in the morning of the next day that we are just taking everything from one venue to the other part of the control, just to make sure that people have everything they need to finish the project that they started working on. So in 2.5 hours, we basically moved everything from
Oh my
one
God.
part of the city to the other. I don't know how we pulled that off in such a short time. It was just adrenaline and
Adrenaline. Yeah.
tunnel vision. Yes, this is what happens when you have a crisis like that. You basically run on adrenaline and tunnel vision. You just super oriented to problem solutions. There's nothing else happening. The funny thing is that we didn't have support from the venue, in a sense that they didn't have a car to drive us with everything. So on top of that, we had to organize the transport of all the, sponsored things, and every
Booze.
sales
Yeah.
had prepared.
Food.
Yes, food, everything had to be transported with us. So that was the biggest challenge we experienced. And I'm very happy that as a team we passed this test, because now that I know that we are ready for anything that is thrown at us, basically. So I think that was like the biggest challenge that we experienced so far. But this is something that cannot be foreseen, basically, because weather disasters is something that happens, and you just have to, yeah, like I said, drive on adrenaline in those.
Yeah. Yeah, but now you're ready for everything, or almost everything.
Yes, I believe so. And that was a huge test for the team as well. So now I know that I can count on these people, and we can really pull off everything that is thrown at us.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's talk about the strategies you use to create engaging and memorable experiences. Like, so what the main idea of experiential marketing from your point of view? Because now it becomes like more and more discussable topic, all these experiences around the brand. So can you share your approach, your strategies to manage this?
Of course. I mean, we were mentioning the Zero Knowledge podcast over here that I'm working with, but my company is doing more events. So it's not only that we do ZK Summit and ZK Hackathons. We've done the Verifiable Summit, we've done L2 Warsaw, we've done L2 Days, we've done certain things for WorldCoin as well that were completely different from each other. So basically, what we're starting with is just genuine interest in the client. So this is something that is the first differentiation between us and different agencies, because most of the agencies, they work with certain schemes and they just put you in the certain box, and that's it. So they follow the guidebook that they have
Yeah.
for this certain thing, and that's it. And that's why many events, not only in crypto, but many events that you attend, they're very similar to each other, and they it's hard to say. I'm one of the participants of many events because I love to learn. I love to participate, not only from the perspective of the person that is doing it professionally, but also I like to experience being with other people that are geeking the same as me, being part of certain communities. So very often you see that those events, when you think about them, they start to blend, right? It's difficult to say, okay, that was the event this year, and I remember that and that and that, blah blah blah. So creating an experience, creating a memory, one event at a time. This is our motto, basically. Because what people very often don't understand is that the event is not only, like, okay, we have a budget, we want to do something, and that's it. No, this is the memory, this is the connection that you create with the person that actually attends. And you have to think about that. So you never put a client in a box. You first understand them, you understand their needs, you understand if they have experience with events as well. Because every client is different, and with every client you work differently. And this is something, like I said, we don't work with many people because I also want to do valuable things. But the clients that we work with are actually doing something really interesting, valuable, and something that resonates with us as well.
Yeah.
So this is our strategy. After that, obviously, you go through to the cookbook that we have, switching certain things, right, making it more visible, more recognizable for people that are attending. And I see that it's working after so many years because people are coming to me even they're saying, I remember in Lisbon.
You always have best catering. You always have.
Yes, that's true. It's one of the things that we really put a lot of stress on, and we always like educate the clients as well about this. Because like I said, not every client has experience with events. If your conference is the whole day, you need to feed people. You need to feed people the way that they actually have fuel for the next part of the day, but they're also not getting like, low energy. So basically, this is another thing, like how to manage agenda with the breaks and everything else. This is another strategy that we are using, right? So the event is actually successful. So it makes me laugh every time when I hear that somebody says, but throwing events is easy. You just book the venue, you book catering, and that's it. No, there's so many little details that you have to go through. I appreciate that comment because it makes me feel like, okay, please do it. And then your clients are going to come to me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, this is how we approach that. And for us, there's like three things that are super, super important is the quality, overall quality, is the respect of the person, and and just genuine interest in it, right? So actually approaching every person individually. So this is the three factors that are really important when we starting to work with someone.
Thanks for sharing. And I think that this interest is the main thing because it provokes this like personal attitude. It provokes this attention to detail because you're personally interested in making this memorable, good, with high quality, and all the things that go together with this interest. Even these people who meet you at the entrance, if the person meets you without smile and with this like poker face, you understand that you're not welcome here and you have nothing to do here.
That's why I always try to put people there at the registration desk that are extroverts. They love people, they love to explain certain things, so you really feel, like you said, you really feel welcome, you really feel informed, you know what to do, you know where the stages are and stuff like that. So yeah, we always get feedback, and I love that afterwards about, like signage and the atmosphere and everything else. So this is very important to us. But like I said, we try from the beginning to make it as much memorable and as much a pleasant experience for you.
Thank you. So how do you balance the needs of sponsors and attendees, or like in your case, developers and builders? How to make this perfect balance?
So it all depends on the client in this matter. So I don't have much say in the sponsorships. Obviously, I'm helping out. I'm helping out with my experience with the sponsorship deck, or sometimes even selling sponsorships. But like I said, it all depends on the client. If it comes to zero knowledge, and I think most of the projects it's obviously, unless you have a foundation that can give you a grant or give you a specific amount of money for the event, or I don't know, a bigger project, bigger corporation that is like supporting you, you need support from sponsors. This is normal. So if you want people to attend the events, if you want people to have this experience, learn, if you want to meet people that can work for you as well, you need to invest a little bit in it.
Yeah, sure.
Invest into people that actually want to bring you those things, right? Because like I mentioned during ZK Hack or ZK Summit, there is space for networking every time, and many people got their jobs because of those events. So it's not like it's just an event and that's finishing. No, we want this experience to continue, and sometimes it continues through working with another person. So obviously, this is super super important to have projects that are supporting development of the niche. That's what it is: development of the space, development of the community. So no matter the event, you always have to have some extra money. It's rarely happening that attendees are paying 100% of the cost, because you want those attendees to also come and events to be affordable for them, right? So you're not going to put all the costs on the attendees. It really rarely happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this niche is still small, and I think that companies they are interested in having people and meeting people. Yeah, so I know how many people attend so technical events. Yeah, so I think that companies are more interested in having these people.
Definitely. And also you need to, like you said, this niche is still very small. So people that are attending those events are genuinely interested in what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's very technical event, you have to be interested in it, which means that this is a potential candidate for you to work on certain, I don't know, applications or developing certain things for your project, which means that it's very attractive for sponsors too. So it's not like there is a problem with finding projects that want to sponsor those kind of events, because they know that this is the place that people are selected naturally, I would say.
Yeah.
Like I said, somebody that is just into, I don't know, NFTs and meme coins is not gonna join this kind of event, at least not knowing about zero knowledge proofs or anything that is related about it, or being curious about it, right?
Yeah. That's true. They have quality audience.
Exactly.
So, how do you measure the success of the events, like in terms of quantity of attendees and business goals? So, do you have any KPIs or metrics?
Like I said, it again depends on the client. So for us, the most important thing is the atmosphere, and like I said, the rates that is of attendees, and for instance, how many jobs are coming out of it, right? This is something that but except for that, it's happiness, right? Like how happy people are attending those events. What are they bringing out? What they're publishing on Twitter or whatever, right? Something that is really like showing that the event was a success. Because it's very difficult if you don't have like a specific KPIs. Let's say, okay, we need that many people and this is our target and stuff like that. It rarely happens, especially in such a small space that you have like strict KPIs, like, I don't know, traditional corporations have, right? Because yeah, it's still a space that is developing itself, it's growing. So yeah, most of the time, like the biggest success rate is the amount of participants. When we were doing L2Days, the aim that we had was 1,000 people, and we hit 1,500. So it was really like above the target that we
50%.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was something that we were all very very happy.
I remember this event in Warsaw. It was super cool and super innovative, I can say, because like L2Bit is very niche and but well known
Yes.
company in the blockchain space. Do you use any Web3 technologies in your planning or executing events?
I wish there were some, honestly, except for like, I don't know, POAPs, for instance. This is something that we used several times. Specific tools for event management and event organization do not exist yet. And if they do, please send them my way because I will be very, very happy to start using them. But like I said, events are, I have an impression like in crypto in general, in crypto space in general, are still being discovered, are still not being treated in a way that this is really a tool to grow your project. It is happening very slowly because I see how many events organizers and management are happening in the space, and that the more and more projects hiring people like that, but it's still like somewhere at the bottom if it comes to the priorities. So obviously this is not a priority as well to develop something like that for organizing events.
For event management.
Yeah, but there are some platforms for ticketing that that are already being used, and they're like connected to the wallets and stuff. But unfortunately, still the UX, so something that Web3 unfortunately is struggling with.
Yeah,
it's very difficult. So not many projects are deciding to use those because the UX is so complicated that basically the participants are saying, I'd rather to pay it with fiat than crypto. So most of the tools that I'm using are just the traditional tools, and I'm very heartbroken about this.
Yeah, but they work. So I remember that at ECC there were about 250 side events in addition to the main event. And at DEF CON there were like 800 side events. 800 side events. Can you imagine?
Yes.
And like not all of them were good, and not all of them were exciting. So how do what can you recommend to all these people organizing their side events, or maybe like what is your attitude to such great number of this event? How to make these events more quality or like more memorable? So, and if do we need such number of events?
Definitely not. We do not such a big number of events because, like you said, some of them are really bad quality and are not only bad quality, but they also not intended, right? So I know of many projects that did events for ECC, for instance. And they sold sponsorships that were very, very expensive and nobody came. It was maybe like 10 people out of 150 they were expecting. So basically, this is the moment when projects are getting like drawn back from organizing events, right? But this is not necessarily a problem because of the event. It's the problem of you not collaborating with different projects if you have the same topic, for instance. It's the problem of like they popping like crazy, right? So me as a event company, if a client comes to me and says, I want to do this kind of event during ECC because blah, 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 the first thing that we're discussing is, okay, are you going to collaborate with someone? Because doing it on your own, you're just going to get lost in the sea of events. Another thing is like, do you really want to do it as other people are doing? Do you really want us to be like a mini conference or something? Or maybe we do something else. Like for instance, in Brussels for WorldCoin, we did like WorldCoin Cafe. So that was something completely different to most of the things that people were doing, right? There were a few cafes. I saw that they popped afterwards, but it was a different experience, right? It was just a space for people to meet and to scan themselves, to discuss the technology, to discuss everything that they were interested in, to get to know the project as well, because many people from the projects were there. So this is something that differentiates you on the map of other events. So we definitely don't need that much, but we need more collaboration. And this is something that I'm hammering down every single time. You don't need 7 mini conferences about the same topic with the same speakers. They're saying the same things and presenting the same presentation. Yes, because you can't expect from people to be speakers on 10 different conferences and have fresh material for all of them. No, obviously it's going to repeat itself. So why don't you make those 10 projects that want to do the same? You're still going to be visible. You're still going to be recognized, and you're going to be recognized even more just because you collaborated with someone. So that means you're not afraid of being a part of the bigger community, being a bigger picture, and you show that actually what's important to you is developing this space instead of just, competing with people, right?
Yeah.
Something that I think many people don't understand yet, but they will. They will because, like I said, throwing money just to organize event it's not a good idea. And I always discourage clients from doing this. We always tell them that, yeah, you have to collaborate with someone. And actually, WorldCoin even did that, right? Because they collaborated with Nethermind, they collaborated with Alchemy. So it's like, yeah, they really listened to it, and they wanted to do something with others instead of just doing it standalone.
Yeah. And shilling their merch and logo with any idea. Just
Yeah.
t-shirts with logos, black, all the black t-shirts.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm not gonna go into details, but yeah, merch and crypto is a very touchy subject to me. And every event that we are throwing, we're receiving a lot of positive comments about this because, yeah, it's not only black t-shirts with logo on it, but it's actually something meaningful that you can wear on the street, even if you're not at the crypto conference.
I have this t-shirt from ZK Hack with this dragon, Krakow dragon. And and you understand that it was tailored and it was created for this event, for Krakow. And like to highlight this, it's this Krakow edition. It's not like you printed, I don't know, like 1,000 t-shirts and take them to all the conferences, all the events.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a last question. What events people must attend to be updated on the latest Web3 news? What do you recommend?
Oh my goodness, there's so many events already that we put in the calendar that we're doing every year. It all depends on your interest, and it all depends on the depth of your knowledge at the moment. So obviously ETC, it's something that it's like established. All ETH global events are something that it's like established in a space for people that are on different levels. So it's not like you really have to have a deep knowledge of any cryptography to understand what is actually happening. And I think this is also a good introduction into merging the worlds, because many of those talks are also showing, like I remember, I think it was last year or 2 years back at ECC. I remember, 2 years. 2 years ago. It was Paris. It was in Brussels. So basically, they were talking about Gnosis card. So basically, like a debit or a credit card that was introduced, and that was amazingly interesting because this is the first project that actually merged finances directly. So you can, and that was a demo as well of this of the transaction, how you do that. I don't know if you attended that talk, but that was really interesting. And that would be really interesting even for a person that never had anything to do with Web3 projects. So you understand right away. They really laid it down very, very simply. On top of that demo that was happening, it was very interesting.
Of course, yeah.
If it comes to the zero knowledge events, I would say that a ZK Hack, it's a good beginner kit. You know it yourself, right?
Yeah.
This is like, it is elevated. It is not for like total beginners, but if you're new to the space and you know a little bit, I think ZK Hack, either online or IRL, it's a good starting point because first of all, you're getting to know the space, you're getting to know the people that are in the space, and you can put in practice right away what you know with the help of other people as well. So the hackathons is another thing that, hackathons in general, it's a good idea to attend if you want to really start working as a developer, for instance, or understand the space more. Because I was taking part in hackathons as part of the team, not to build certain things, but just to observe the community, to observe how everything is done, the needs and everything else, right? So this is very important. And also it's exciting, right? Because you're building something, you meet people, you're spending like 3 days with them. It's very intense.
Yeah, and you get mentorship from the projects, actually.
Yes.
And good network, good contacts from the space.
Exactly. And like I said, many people get jobs afterwards because, some hackathons are made to be just like to feature the projects, but a good hackathon is there to actually bring you something out of it. A project gets this application or whatever the team built, or they buy it or they implement it. So this is something that's really, really of a huge value. So that's another thing I would recommend to attend. Look for the hackathon that is actually interesting to you and just go for it. If you're interested in zero knowledge, obviously ZK Summit, now 13th edition is going to be in Toronto, 14th edition, because we always do 2 during the year, is going to be back in Europe. So if you're interested in like pure research and what is new in the space, if you're already understanding the cryptography on that level of academic understanding, then Summit is the place to go.
Mhm.
There's like no better conference at this moment. And I'm not saying it just because we're part of the organizing team.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it because I've been to other events and I know the level. And also what is super important during the ZK Summit is that talks are not related to sponsorships. So you don't pay to be on the stage. And the community that is choosing those talks are really putting pressure on the sponsors to send only interesting materials if they want to be featured. And that doesn't mean that they're going to be picked. So they only pick the topics and the talks and the workshops. They're very innovative. They bring the value. And like I said, it's completely individual and separate from the sponsorships, which is very rare as well if it comes to any event. And on top of that, the talks that are submitted have to be fresh. So this is one of those conferences that if you go, you're sure you never heard that material anywhere else. This is something that we put a lot of stress on, and everybody that is attending a ZK Summit knows that. So if you go there, you know that you're going to get to know fresh information that's never been published anywhere else. And after that, you can obviously interact with the person that is speaking, right?
Yeah, thanks for recommendations. They are really cool. I know that this ZK Summits and the ZK Hack also, they can be used for boosting employer brand. Because I know some companies, they use such events to highlight their employer brand among developers.
Yes.
And they like show that we do this, we participate here. So if you join us, you also can come and participate and be part of all this ecosystem. So it works with long-term vision, not only hiring, but with this prolongate effect. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what projects are starting to understand that the events are for as well. That employer branding and project branding, it's something that, they should invest in.
Agnieszka, thank you very much for your expertise. I appreciate your time you spent with me and with our listeners. Yeah, so guys, please follow Agnieszka. I leave her links under this video so you can find her and follow ZK Hack and all the events she's organizing. Yeah, so see you next time in new videos. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.